Jima, Japanese citadel 625 miles from Tokyo, an invaluable base for consistent bombing of Japan. Iwo Jima, 8 square miles of volcanic ash, now the target of a United States Marine attack on the island's eastern beaches, near the tall volcano Mount Suribachi.
James Bradley argues that Iwo Jima remains the most brutal and most heroic battle in modern American warfare, and seeks to dismantle the mythology behind the photograph. The photograph, referred to many times throughout the work, consists of 6 Marines as they hoist not the first, but the second flag up on Mount Suribachi. Harlan Block squats at the base of the flagpole, while John or Doc Bradley is the first figure standing closest to Block. Only Renee Gagnon's knee is visible, while Mike Strank stands behind both Doc Bradley and Franklin Sousley. Ira Hayes is the figure on the far left, not actually touching the flagpole. By focusing on the backgrounds of each member of the flag-raising team, and by relating the results of the photograph on each surviving teammate, Bradley successfully breaks down the mythology behind the photograph taken of the second Iwo Jima flag raising. Through the use of personal anecdotes from Iwo Jima veterans that tell of both during the battle and of the aftermath, Bradley adds an aura of validity to his argument that Iwo Jima stands as America's most heroic battle. Bradley opens his book by focusing on the backgrounds of each individual flag raiser, painting them in separate lights that will serve as a constant for the remainder of the book. Franklin Sousley's story as a fun-loving farm boy who lost a father at a young age connects him to the reader, making his death even harder to bear. Bradley spends an unusually long amount of time discussing the childhood of Harlan Block, focusing specifically on the effects of his religious upbringing as a Seventh-day Adventist. Later on, during the heat of battle, Bradley again references the religion of Block and its part in his death. By painting Mike Strank as a seasoned veteran, Bradley emphasizes that Iwo Jima targeted all ranks of soldiers, not merely the inexperienced ones. The background of Doc Bradley, the father of the author, plays an important role in initiating the author's obsession with the topic of Iwo Jima. The upbringing of stoic Ira Hayes on an Indian reservation greatly contrasts the alcoholic that returned from the war, which Bradley highlights as a method of explaining how especially Iwo Jima changed veterans. Renee Gagnon grew up very close to his mother due to the absence of a father, but against her wishes, fell in love with headstrong Pauline. With the use of thorough background information, Bradley demystifies the identities of the 6 flag raisers in the photograph, which no longer stands merely as a representation of World War II, but Bradley identifies the personalities behind each member of the flag-raising team. Only half of the 6 flag raisers survived the remaining part of the battle, as Block, Sousley, and Strank all heroically died defending their country. Bradley distinguishes the effects of the photograph on each surviving member of the flag-raising team, Doc Bradley, Ira Hayes, and Renee Gagnon. After the initial hype of the publication and popularly demanded reprinting of the now famous photograph, Washington called all 3 surviving members home and sent them on the mighty 7th. As a way to raise money for the support of the war effort, the Treasury Department capitalized on the fame of the photograph by sending the flag raisers on a mission to raise billions of dollars. In total, the Mighty 7th fundraising campaign raised over $26 billion. However, after such a landmark trip, Doc Bradley transitioned into John Bradley, married his hometown sweetheart, and started a family. Ira Hayes returned to the armed forces, while Renee Gagnon married his sweetheart in an ill-fated relationship against the wishes of his mother. Later, the producers of the first movie dedicated to capturing the essence of World War II, starring none other than John Wayne, asked for the presence of the survivors, but mainly for advertising purposes. Forever immortalized in the photograph, the survivors could not escape the legend of a Rosenthal captured in 1/400th of a second. In another aspect of this book, Bradley pries into the personal experiences of veterans from Iwo Jima in order to immortalize this as the most brutal, yet the most heroic, battle in American history. The Buttermilk Boys, called such due to their young age, consisted of Chick Harris and corpsman Danny Thomas. The 19-year-old corpsman saw his best friend cut in half under enemy fire, inducing gut-wrenching vomiting on the part of Thomas. Chick lied about his age to get into the Marine Corps, and was only 15 when he died. The personal stories serve to both appeal to the pathos of the reader, but also add validity to Bradley's argument of Iwo Jima's extreme brutality and heroism.
Closing in on Mount Suribachi on Iwo Jima, the 5th United States Marine Division fires on Japanese gun emplacements studding the mountain. From Suribachi's 500-foot elevation, enemy mortars hold the entire island in range.
Corpsman Ralph Iggy Ignatowski and Doc Bradley were best buddies during the war, always a dangerous plight. After advancing to help a wounded soldier, Doc could not find Iggy. In the end, Iggy was found in a Japanese tunnel, body completely mangled, and had obviously been tortured in the most gruesome manners possible. Bradley includes this anecdote to explain that the harsh nature of the Japanese caused the high American death tolls. The medal counts of Iwo Jima serve as a testament to its heroism. Of the 353 medals of honor earned during World War II, 27 were awarded for actions during the Battle of Iwo Jima. This record, unsurpassed by any other battle in American history, adequately demonstrates the extreme acts of heroism that occurred during the battle and furthers Bradley's thesis that Iwo Jima stands as America's most heroic battle.
With enemy bullets inches overhead, wounded are cared for by medical corpsmen. Iwo Jima has proven the toughest, bloodiest battle the Marines have ever fought. To win this tiny 8-square-mile area, 4,000 of them have died, and 20,000 Japanese.
Also contributing to the sense of brutality, the personal stories of the aftermath of the battle validate Bradley's claim of Iwo Jima's superior brutality. The surviving buddy of the Buttermilk Boys, Danny Thomas, suffered from nightmares for years after leaving the Marines, as did corpsman Cliff Lange. James Buchanan lost all will to live, suffering from a lack of initiative after returning home. Doc Bradley wept in his sleep every night for 4 years following his marriage to his childhood sweetheart, but refused to discuss the nightmares with his new wife. Ira Hayes died at the age of 32 after suffering from alcohol addiction brought on by the graphic images Hayes witnessed during Iwo Jima. The individualized accounts of suffering after the initial death toll furthers Bradley's ethos and his overall argument by adding support for his claim of Iwo Jima's alleged brutality. Flags of Our Fathers explores in depth the photograph of the second Iwo Jima flag raising, an image that came to symbolize the entirety of World War II. A statue modeled after this picture currently serves as the only World War II monument in Washington, D.C. Taking the investigation a step further, James Bradley appeals to both the ethos and the pathos of his audience through personal stories that affirm the fierce brutality and heroism employed during the Battle of Iwo Jima.
Iwo Jima is conquered. Only isolated snipers remain. Its airstrips are already in use by American superfortresses. Atop Mount Suribachi, This flag is 625 miles from Tokyo.